Chairman. I want to thank the witnesses. I represent a district in the East Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area, right next to the University of California at Berkeley, and we've had a long history of these type of issues. I remember Prop 209 almost 30 years ago. The university system has always embraced the public university system, CSU and UC, diversity, but it's also based on merit. And just in terms of return on investment, we have lots of numbers in California with the return on investment for everybody. So the idea of merit-based, but ignoring the fact that not everyone starts at the same place. Ms. Harrington, in that regard, you know, we've had lots of challenges at UC, in the system, and at CSU, but particularly Berkeley. Having just gone there for a football game, Mr. Chairman, where Berkeley upset SMU. It's trying to protect this, but also doing it. We have history in California, is my point. And of course, the stereotype is particularly for Berkeley, and we just went through this with UCLA, from the administration, is that it's left-leaning. But the reality is we've had a long time dealing with civil rights issues, not just for Truman, but for everything. So, Ms. Harrington, in this particular program first, how does this continual erosion just deal with the reality that the taxpayers get a lot of value out of getting people from these communities protected and getting them a bachelor's degree or a graduate degree?
I think the Truman Scholarship is selected by bipartisan groups of individuals. They really seek to pick people based on their commitment to public service. This is not a question of ideological bias. And so the idea is that folks who are going to contribute, who want to give back to the entire community, to the society, is very, very important. And the goal is to take down barriers, not to put up more.
But a lot of the folks that would be targeted, from my perspective, in what the administration is doing, the value to the taxpayers is enormous of getting people high degrees in every group, but particularly protected classes.
Absolutely. We all benefit when fewer barriers are erected, when more folks have access, when we don't leave talent on the table. The entire society benefits. There have been numerous studies that by not doing something about these barriers, by keeping people out of post-secondary education, by keeping them out of employment opportunities, for instance, we lose trillions of dollars to our economy, actually. And so we all benefit both in terms of real dollars, but also in terms of the society that we're trying to create.
And just in general, you know, young people go in to get a bachelor's degree to be special ed teachers. Now they're not part of this right now, but moving that out of the Department of Education, which has been proposed as well, is there's a level of expertise in getting diverse groups, irrespective of their ideology and different perspectives in society, poverty, but also specific needs in our education system. So could you briefly talk about that when we lose these revenue sources so people can compete for them, irrespective of their political ideologies? That's just another barrier for getting a return on investment. And I constantly think that, separate subject, but having spent a lot of this as the ranking member of the Health, Employment, Labor, and Pensions Commission, the President's budget wants to cut NIH, even though return on investment for the National Institutes for Health are almost $3 for every dollar taxpayers put into this. So that's sort of where I'm getting in this question line with you is we get value out of the Truman Scholarship, just like Harry Truman would want, I would think.
I think so, and I think the bigger issue is that we also get value out of creating more opportunities for more folks. And so while we sit here focusing on this one scholarship, we should be thinking bigger picture. We should be thinking about how we create opportunities across the board so that we can increase that value.
And it certainly seems targeted at a particular group or groups of Americans, this overall initiative that Truman is just a part of. I would think that the NAACP would feel that way, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I think we believe in the value of public service, and so we support making sure that there are pathways for folks to go into public service, whether it be through the Truman Scholarship, through other programs, folks who are just trying to go through grad school with regular federal student loans, regular federal grants, who have to navigate this complex system, this more expensive system that's being created by this big, beautiful bill. And so what we are concerned about is how we make sure that more pathways are being created and not focusing on trying to close one small pathway.
Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.